So today I'm working in my Small Dilutions journal, and as you can see I'm just drawing out a kind of a little grid pattern with a pencil and ruler. This is going to form the basis of my layout for this page, and these are the new distress crayons. This is set number 3, this is the neutrals, and I'm using Vintage Photo. So I'm just going to apply some of that distress crayon to the page directly. I haven't gessoed the page at all because I'm going to try and keep what I'm putting on this page down to a minimum. This is a white space page, so I'm going to be concentrating or allowing the page to have as much kind of white space as I think it warrants. So from the same set, I'm now taking out the antique linen, and I'm just going to add some of that colour to the page too, and you do it in exactly the same way as I did before. So I'm now taking out a baby wipe. I'm just going to wrap it around my finger, and then I'm just going to use that baby wipe to blend some of those colours together. Those two colours that I've got on there, just going to rub it over and just allow the pigment within the crayons to blend together a little bit with that wet from the baby wipe. So this is the Distress Crayons set number 2, and I'm going to be taking out the peeled paint one, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that green into the mix that I've already put down on the page. Not a lot, just a little bit, and I'm just going to blend that with my finger and then bring back out that baby wipe and just give it a little bit more of a blending with the wet from that tissue. So before we go any further, I'm going to bring up the heat gun and just give it a little bit of a dry and then move on to the next stage. So I've raided my drawer where I keep all of my bits of ephemera that people have sent me or collected, and I've just pulled out a few random pieces that I think will work well on the type of page that I want to try and create. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rough up the edges, distress the edges, and then I'm going to bring out some Archival ink to add some colour and some aging to the corners and the edges of the pieces. So this photo was in my ephemera drawer. On the back it says Reverend Johnson, Grumpy Jeepa. So somebody's got a grumpy grandpa. So I think this was sent to me in Happy Mail a while ago, but unfortunately I didn't write down on the back of it where it came from, so I can't say thank you to the person. So whoever it was, thank you very much. It's now going to be used and incorporated into my page. Okay, so this page was also sent to me in Happy Mail, and I know this is from my good friend Hanny Tromp because it's all written in Dutch, and she's the only one that's ever sent me anything with Dutch on it. So I'm going to use those also in my page, and I just love the aging on the edges of the paper already on that, so it's not going to need that much. So out comes the potting soil archival ink. I'm just inking up a foam pad using the circular distress tool, and I'm just going to ink around all of the edges of all of the pieces of ephemera that I've got. Now I decided on the potting soil rather than the sepia because I wanted this to be a little bit darker, and it fits more in keeping, or it is more in keeping with the vintage photo that I've already applied to the page with those distress crayons. So now that I'm finished with all those bits, I'm just going to push things away and just give that tabletop a little bit of a clean up because I don't want to get that brown ink everywhere else. Okay, we're now all clean and tidy. It's time to bring back my art journal. Grabbing my matte medium from Mod Podge, and I'm just going to apply some of that to the page. I'm not trying to seal down the colours because I don't need to. I'm now going to start applying those bits of ephemera with the Mod Podge just down onto the page. And because the Reverend Johnson is going to be the focal point in my page, you'll see me bring him in and just use him as a position so I can work out where to put all the other pieces of ephemera so that they tuck in nicely underneath. It's now time to add Grumpy Grandpa. So I'm just adding some more of that Mod Podge onto the page and then adding some to the back. Now, I'm not being too particular about getting it right to the edges because I'm not too bothered about it sticking up and having those edges curl up a little bit. So just adding them down and then just giving them a little bit of a coat over the top just to make sure that it's all nice and sealed. Now, to give the left-hand page some balance across with the right, I'm just going to add some small fragments of that book page from Hanny onto that left-hand page, and then stick down my little photo of the youth, the young man, and you'll see that I try and link the left-hand side of the page to the right-hand side of the page, and you'll see with that colour coming from the right-hand page underneath all the bits of ephemera, it does form a kind of visual bridge between the two sides of the page. And just to make sure that everything's nice and dry and ready for the next stage, I'm just going to bring up my heat gun and just give everything a nice gentle heat just to make sure it's all dry and ready to go. So for the next step, I've brought out the potting soil again, and this is an old script stamp from Recollections which I picked up in Michael's a long time ago. I think it was in Las Vegas. And I'm just going to add some of that little script across the page in certain areas. I'm not being too bothered about getting an even impression. I just want the impression of writing and text in the background. Having a visual balance in an art journal page is very important. So because I've got some reds in the right hand side of the page, I wanted to introduce some reds over into the left hand side of the page. But because there's not a lot of red in the right, I'm not adding that much red over into the left as well. So I'm just adding hints of red just to kind of balance both sides out to make them kind of coalesce into one kind of image. So the final stage for this art journal page spread is to add my quote or my bit of journaling to the page, and getting the right kind of pen for this is very important. So I'm going to go through a couple just to see whether or not they're the right ones or whether it's dark enough, and then I finally settle on to a Stabilo gel pen. And because I haven't added that much acrylic to the page, then it does work quite well on there. I probably would have got just as good an effect using a standard ballpoint pen. And the only bit of text that I'm adding onto there is just the wording, signs of a misspent youth. So we see you've got the photograph of the old gentleman on the right, and then you've got the younger gentleman on the left hand side, so it kind of gives that impression that that's what he looked like when he was younger, and this is what he looks like when he's older. And that is it for this page. I'm not going to add any more to it. I'm allowing that white space to remain in the top left hand corner as is. So I think it doesn't need anything else for this page. We're done and we are dusted. So I hope you've enjoyed this art journal page, and if you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I hope you'll join me again real soon. Bye for now.